my own good thing. I have cornea damage. A lot of you have asked, bless your hearts. I mean, I think other people are like, you want to ask, but I have some cornea damages from dry eyes. We've got some contacts ordered that have stem cells attached to them, and hopefully it will restore that. It's kind of a new thing from a couple years ago. So we'll see. But anyway, I guess if that doesn't, then we're on to plan B. But my good thing is we're hoping plan A will work anyway. It's the goal anyway. Let's see. Mr. Lucari, tell us some good things.
Good things that year's off to a good start. We're rolling a couple big classes. Lauren and I are working well together. The kids seem to be buying into what we're doing. So I would say the good thing right now is how the year has started to this point.
How large are, when you say kind of large classes, how large are we talking compared to last year?
We have a couple classes that are 60 to 65 probably combined.
Okay.
A little over 30 each.
So is that harder to do things than, say, last year? Or does that just give you more students to do better things?
It's not that much larger.
Okay.
I didn't mean it was larger than last year, but
have you been going outside? Is there
not yet. We'll probably get outside a little bit towards the end of this week.
So are you still working on your team building and stuff this week?
We got through that till about Friday. We got our social contracts in on Thursday. Started actually dressing up and stuff last Friday, and now we're doing some fitness testing this week.
Very good. So today was basically your first day of rolling in and all the rest? Very good.
Yeah.
2 claps for Mr. Okay, Mr. Cook, tell us something good.
You looking at me, Mr. Cook, or Gary?
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Don't process-wise. That would be kind of tricky, wouldn't it?
Good things. Family's doing well. My classes are good, and I'm alive and doing well.
Excellent. What have you been doing in your class that's been working so well that they're great for you?
You know, trying to get to know them. It's one-on-one basis. Get to know them personally to show that I care, and I think that really touches home because I've got a lot of positive feedback about it. So.
Very nice. Has there been anything especially that you think worked better than another to build those personal relationships?
Well, I mean, firm but fair. I told them from day one that I'm not going to treat them all equally, but I'm going to treat them all fairly, and we'll have to go case by case in terms of the scenario.
Okay, very nice. 2 claps for Mr. Cook and classrooms. Mr. Knapp, tell us something good.
Last week was tough because I was enrolling, or tried to enroll a bunch of students into the blended learning program. And I was scrambling to do that and balance the class and balance trying to implement CKH. And last Thursday, got them all enrolled and sent that off to Peak Aventa. And today I have 475 emails in my inbox that tell me that they're enrolled. So it's a good thing.
That's a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
It's a good thing because I don't have to enroll them anymore, and I know that they're in the program. And believe it or not, now they can log in and they can actually do the program. That is a good thing for me.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Have they actually been logging in already as individuals?
They're getting the emails today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and so it'll be over the next few days. They'll get their login information and it'll be going from there.
So, what are your startup activities then once they are able to log in as themselves?
This first activity, I'm just going to follow chronologically through history, and then we have everything that they need with the curriculum, and I just tell them, okay, this is where you need to go for this assignment, and they'll just go there, follow the instructions, and they'll be good to go.
So they go straight into social studies.
Yep.
Very nice. 2 claps for Mr. Knapp.
And I have to thank Mr. Knapp for taking the leadership on that because I do not have 435 emails. And thank you for that. I also have a Thunderbolt good thing that I would like to share, and that is Kristen's been sending you some information on the run, with the cross-country run. So we have a secret weapon. And his name is Mr. Dan Cook. And those of you who are new, you can just Google him and you'll see all the records he's broken. So we're just keeping that kind of quiet. But it is a competition, so I feel pretty good about it. So we're thrilled, but we're thrilled. I think you're going to participate, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And we have Ms. Kansleiter, who's just right behind me. So
I just want to say this might be the first time I ever get to be on a team with Dan Cook, and I'm so excited.
So he's
I'm signing up.
our secret weapon. Because some folks were saying, gosh, I don't think I can run a 5K, but I can walk it. gonna matter. So thank you for that. All right, today we are, first of all, oh my gosh, what an amazing last week. I think best ever in my experience in administration, and that's because of all of you, really. So feedback, constant feedback from kids. When I say, you know, what's something that went well, they have a whole list. What can we do better? You just can't think of anything. So thank you to all of you for that. I'm going to hold off. We were going to do our social contract today as a staff, but we've got a packed meeting, so I'm going to move that to our September meeting. Today we have Trisha and Rachel back here. They're going to do just a quick 15 minutes. We're going to try to embed some of our PD into our staff meetings, just quick reminders on objectives and relevancy. That's a good, really good place to start. Perfect timing. Jamie's going to talk about kind of the process with our students that you're concerned about, fire drill, lockdown, some of that, and then we're going to end up with Kim with our 301 presentation. So, did you guys want to say that real quick about the modifications? Sure. The accommodations.
I understand I'm hearing some feedback from some teachers that they're having a hard time getting onto C's. I've talked to the district office. Something's happening. It's out of our control. They're working on it. The parapros will have copies of all the accommodations tomorrow. So they'll have them in your wings and be able to communicate with them. If you could stop by Alyssa, Robin, or Lance's room Thursday after our early release trainings, they'll have hard copies for you of the accommodations as well, all sorted out and whatnot. So it just takes them a while to get all that printed and copied. So Thursday after the meetings, they should have it up for you.
Thank you for doing that, because that's huge. Because I know teachers want to support things, and it's hard to take it away.
Absolutely.
Right? The academic coaches and their expertise.
Okay, I just want to first begin by introducing myself because I was not able to be here during pre-service. My name is Rachel Bishop, for those of you that don't know me. And like Trisha, and Larry, I'm one of the academic coaches. I work primarily with the ELA department, and then this year I'm also working with some of the social studies people. So, hi. Hi. Good to see you all. If you do not have one of these, raise your hand. We will get you one. Everyone needs to have one. Okay, so as Mary just said, we're going to try and embed a little bit of our PD into staff meetings. And when we were sitting around last spring, we realized that something that we feel like we're lacking is kind of like follow-ups with the T4S attributes. And especially for our new teachers, you get like bombarded with T4S that week, and then it's like, and then you get in the classroom like, wait, what am I doing again? And then also for veteran teachers, sometimes I think, it's good to have that refresher.
I promise you, Tammy, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. I'm getting flexible.
I'm getting a look, sorry. No, I'm so sorry. Tammy, no, sorry.
No, fine.
I want to make sure that everybody has one of these by their phone. It's what to do in a medical emergency in your classroom. Two main things I want you to know is, number one, call the front office. Don't call my office. I might be, if you're Mr. Young, I'm going to be at lunch every time that you call. So call the front office and they will get me. The other thing I want you to know is just be calm. Just be calm, whatever happens. And there's some instructions here on what to do in case of asthma, diabetes, or seizures. Seizures being the scariest thing, but usually it's just not life-threatening, so be calm. Read this over when you have time. Have an emergency, call the front desk. The number's on the top here. I don't think I had enough for everybody that needs them, so I'm going to make some more, and I will put out an email and let me know if you need one. And that's all. Just be calm and call the office. Hey, how's that? Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about objectives, which is the first attribute of. Thank you. Which is the first attribute of our T4S protocol. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is everyone should have the seasonal partners paper. I want you to get up, walk around. Do not have the same people at your table sign this. But for those of you that have never done something like this before, what you're going to do is, for example, Andrea and I'd say, do you want to be my winter partner? And Andrea would say, yes. And so Andrea would write her name here, or I'd write Andrea's name here, and then I would write my name on the winter line. And then I'd go to somebody else. And I'd say, Jamie, do you want to be my fall partner? And so then I would write Jamie's name here, she would write my name there. Does that make sense? Do I need to clarify that? Okay. So like I said, do not have people at your table sign, get up, walk around, go to the other side of the room, please.
Don't go too far.
Not at her. Okay.
Want to be my winter partner? And then these things, the emergency things so grab one of those when you get a chance.
Do you have a fall or summer one? Yes, you do. Okay, this is right. This is right. Yeah. So put your
I need a spring partner.
Oh, I wish
Any reason to celebrate?
Sorry.
Thank you, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at the first protocol. It says communicate selected standards or objectives to all students. Then beneath that it says the teacher demonstrates all of the following attributes. The word all, of course, is very important because when it comes to your evaluation, you do want to make sure that you are meeting each of these criteria in order for this box to be checked. As you may remember, some of the other attributes you only need to have with one. Okay, but this one you have to have all. And the first one is that you are aligning learning to district curriculum maps, so that way you're teaching what you're supposed to be teaching and not something that's not on your map. I'm going to come back to this one in a minute. The third one, explicitly states or refers to the objective during the lesson. And that part right here, refer. We see this a lot. What we don't always see sometimes is referring back to it. So that's just kind of something to kind of think in your mind. You know, as you're teaching, kind of think about, okay, where can I go back to that objective just to remind my students again? So trying to get in the habit of that. The second and the fourth one are the ones that we're going to focus on today. The second one says, displays objective in student-friendly language to inform students of what they need to know and be able to do. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. The last one, aligns the learning to the correct level of rigor required by standards or objectives. So we're really going to just look at these, the second and the fourth ones today. Okay, so what they need to know and be able to do. And back in the early days when we first started using this protocol, we would talk a lot about the noun and the verb, you know, the what and the how and so on. But when you're writing your objective, what do you want your students to be able to do at the end of the period? And how are they going to show you that they are able, or that they know it? Okay, so what I want you to do is take a moment to look at this. This is an objective from a math class. It says students will solve a system of linear equations by using the substitution method. And so just silently think to yourself, what is this objective asking the student to do? And how is the student going to show that they know this information? Think about that for a second. And then turn to someone sitting next to you and share. What and how? What is the objective asking?
They are being asked to solve an equation by applying
To linear equation. Good job.
elementary.
Yeah, I don't know how are you going to see it. So,
Research plumbing by going to emphasis.
so are they working it out? Like, I guess, how are they working it out? How are they showing you exactly what they know?
There you go.
Tell your story.
Just so that you all know, I'm not been officially CAH trained, so. But yes. But I will do whatever you all tell me to do. Okay. So, what is the student being asked to do here? Anyone? Now, what are they doing? Okay, solve linear equations. How are you going to know that that student is able to solve those systems? Okay, so they're going to use the substitution method to show you how to solve the system of linear equations. Okay, good. Click, please. Sorry. All right. Oh, this is you. Okay. This is me. All right, so you got one from science. Oh no, I'm sorry. All right. Students will be able to classify properties of matters, chemical or physical properties, using a tree map. So what I would like you to do is read that on your own, think about it. What is it they're going to learn? How are they going to show you what they know? What are you going to be watching for in your phone? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Don't get ahead of us. Stay with me. Okay, you are going to get up out of your seat and find your fall partner and have a conversation about the what and Okay, do you want to volunteer to write this down for us within your conversation with your partner? All right. Oh, sure.
Yeah, so students are classifying properties as matter, mechanical and physical properties, and using a tree map to do so.
And that gives you a good visual as you walk around the room. They're working on the classification, which again, as you're thinking of your DOK, take a look around, you quickly glance to see if they've got them sorted well, and it's a quick formative, real quick. And it's also their thought process, it's a cognitive process that you're asking them to do. They're not just filling in a worksheet. That's one of the big things we see a lot of times. It's kind of old hat, by filling in a set of notes, or by filling in a worksheet. If they're even completing a worksheet, that's fine. If it's a section on a worksheet, that's fine. But what are you asking them to do on that part of that worksheet? It's not just completing a fill in the blank. Are they summarizing? Are they classifying? So you want to make sure is what are you asking them to do? How are you going to know they're doing so in your formative? Your objective drives your lesson. And a lot of times we get in the habit of putting a lesson, an objective up there that isn't meaningful, and it isn't really telling us what we're doing and what we're looking for our kids to do. So think about that as you write your objectives. Your objectives based on your formative. Your formatives are based on your objectives. So it's really powerful. Okay, go ahead. Thank your partner and turn me right here. Thank you. And I guess Okay, Andrew, do you do me a favor and read that objective out loud for us?
I was almost ready to get that. Students will cite textual evidence to support the point of view of MLK in his letter from Birmingham City Jail.
Okay, so again, take a minute, think about it, reread it on your own. What is the what and what is the how on this one? A little bit more rigorous. Everything you need to know. I already want to show you they know it. Yeah. Okay, so you should be good. Just kind of thinking on your own. And you're going to get an index card. And that index card is your quick write, or you can also use it as a ticket off the door. So if you need index card on your table, we have enough. Okay, we'll get you one. And you, this time, you can have a conversation for support if needed, but if not, go ahead and fill this out. Give me the what and the how. On the index card. Yeah, go ahead and put your name on your index card.
Support. They're going to show that they understand the support, so the point of view. And how they're going to do that is by citing
Raise your hand if you still use some time, please. You need some time, raise your hand.
The quick rate can answer to that.
Yes.
So these quick writes are a good formative. It's a really quick way to check to see if people are getting it. I can kind of lean over everyone's shoulders and I can kind of see where we're at and how we're feeling about this. I've seen a great table right here. I'm going to pick on them. If you guys would mind, one of you sharing your what and your how for us.
The what we think is the POV of MLK, and the how is the potential.
Okay. Nice job. All right.
Can you repeat in your opinion?
The what is the point of view, and the how is by citing the textual evidence. Okay, so this is the fourth attribute for objectives, and it says aligns the learning to the correct level of rigor required by the standards or objective. So, if you look at that objective that we just studied, we actually created that objective using the reading standards for history. Because if you look at, you can't see the one, but it's RH6-8.1, it talks about citing evidence. And so as we were thinking about it, we thought, how can we take this a little more rigorous? And how can we kind of combine some standards? Well, one of the other standards that we're responsible for teaching is point of view. And so by using our standards, we were able to create a more rigorous objective. The standards are already rigorous. If you go back and look at your standard as you're writing your objective, that's going to help you to increase that rigor. So as we said, you're having to figure out what is his point of view. How did he feel while he was sitting in that jail? And then how are they going to show us? They're going to use that evidence from the letter that's going to support that point of view. Any questions? Okay. Test and review days. Something to keep in mind. If you have up on your board Chapter 6 test as your objective, that's not acceptable. Okay. Acceptable would be something like students will solve linear equations, graph a linear equation, and find the intercepts of a linear equation by taking the Chapter 6 test. Do you have to put everything that you're testing in your objective? No. I try to include, three concepts that I know I am testing my students. So I might say something like, students will prove their knowledge of key vocabulary, characterization, and the theme in To Kill a Mockingbird for the Chapter 5 test, something like that. Okay, have we studied more? Obviously, yes, but you don't want to write, a book for your objective either. Okay. So, are there any questions about what's considered acceptable and what's considered not acceptable?
And it also goes for review days.
Yes.
You walk in there and say, students will review for a test. Well, what are they reviewing? What concepts do they review?
For a test, like if they're taking a test on like a chapter book, and some of it is essay where you want to know, how they, they're be reflective of something off the test, out of the book. But some of it's recall. So can I say something like they will prove knowledge of chapters 1 or prove knowledge of the novel read in class?
But then you want to be specific. Knowledge of what?
Of comprehension.
No, you need
because
to be more
some of it's
specific.
recall. So you think I should just make my objective more based on the essay part of the test?
I would go back to what were the standards that you were covering when you were teaching? Point of view.
Okay.
Characterization.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got that. Thank you.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of where we've got lost along the way. We're so busy wanting to write an objective, and we know we're looking at our standards, but we're not always incorporating our standards into our objective. And it's right there for us. I mean, we've already broken down the curriculum out and how already, so why not use them?
Any more questions? Comments? All right.
Right on.
Thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Okay, before we move on to Jamie, I want to point out we've had some, as we're in other classrooms, now's the time that the kids are becoming real, right? Day one was pretty heaven, especially for 7th grade. So a couple things that in a training for teachers where the assumption is we're going to be respectful and everything. One of the things that, Trish, I think, raise your hand if you need more time. So as simple as that is, that's very different than, you need more time? Yeah, very different. Now you got to bring them back. And that's one of my favorite things about managing classrooms is the tiniest of tips done with fidelity, the payoff is huge. So, it's no different with all of us. Group alert, whatever it is, I've heard some feedback, this isn't working, my response to that is it doesn't, whatever works for you, but there has to be a group work. So will you share your, Sue and I were talking about this today.
I teach an intervention class, so the students that are coming into my classroom are coming from all sorts of different teams. So they're coming in saying, well, we do this and we do this. And I said, but in this classroom, we're going to use the school classwork. This is what we're using. And I have found I'm spending a lot of time doing this, especially last week. It was a matter of training the kids. And 15 times in a classroom, or in a class period, we're doing this. I'm seeing it pay off already this week. It's much quicker. It doesn't take nearly as much time, and it's not having to happen as often. They get it. So,
And you've been teaching 18 years. So, and I only say that because it doesn't matter how long we've been here. We have to teach them, to teach the students, and then be consistent. So whatever it is that you're committed to, and that is the benefit of if everybody uses this, is it doesn't matter where they go. But so don't give up, because that's every single time that Rachel or Tricia needed us back, there was something to get us back, and we're adults. So of course we need to do that for kids. So stay firm with that. Any experts that can give some feedback or some information on the teachers that are struggling with that, or just persevere, keep going? Lisa?
Just that you shouldn't only just practice it when they're getting louder, whatever. That it's an intentional, every 5 minutes the first couple, 3 days. I just interrupt myself in the middle. I just see how long it takes them to respond to me. That you just, you build in the immediacy of response by doing it when it's not hard to get them. And you just do it over and over and over and over.
Okay.
I found that I have some kids responding really well, and then I found some that kind of half the kids sort of do it and the other half don't really want to put in the effort. But I started making the kids initiate it. I would ask one student, I want to see what happens. And it kind of first they kind of started looking around like, what? Because I wasn't, I might have been doing something else. And then I was like, and then everybody kind of picked it up. But that helped me with that particular period, because I was having a little bit of a hard time with them at the beginning of the period, and then toward the end that helped a lot. So I'm hoping to maybe expand on that a little bit. I don't know if it would help anybody else.
That's a good idea. Doing more work. Yeah. I think that the thing that I see, and I've been guilty of for sure, is when you find yourself talking over the students, just talking over, that's your ticket. Whoa. It takes so much energy to do that. So, but that's your ticket to trigger for yourself to go, hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this all day, because you said be louder and louder and louder. So stay firm with that. Was there any doubt exactly what Rachel wanted us to do in the very beginning with the seasonal partners? No, we knew very specifically, and we're adults, but you told us exactly. And when we're done, okay, it's done, go back. So very specific, intentional, specific directions. And then the other thing that we did very briefly was on one of the objectives where we thought about it to ourselves, then we talked with our partners, that think, pair, share. And that's one strategy to get away from single student responses. So just a reminder to all of us, when I say Lance, when I said Sue, respond to that, the only person I know that's engaged is Sue. That's it. So, but if I get everybody engaged, talk about it first, now you've got everybody engaged, you check on them, and then one person responds. So if you're thinking, what are you talking about, the coaches or Jamie or myself, we will model that for you and we'll help you with that. But anytime you're just, hey, who has an answer, who can tell me? We had a training years ago with our Teach for Success, and they said, oh my, you should never ever say who could tell me, because half the class is going to go, I'm out. So listen to yourself with that. Who can tell me? Who can tell me? It's just a habit. So lots of things very quickly in that short amount of time that you guys modeled with us. And if we need it, then for sure our students need it. So thank you for doing that. And thank you, Rachel and Tricia. You guys are amazing. I'm so thankful to have you as our support all the time. I mean, anything we ask you to do, you step up, and I just rely on you so much, so thank you. And you, those of you that are new to us, I mean, lots of support, but you always, always, always have a coach to go to, for sure. Okay, Jamie.
Can I talk about safety first and then?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So as you were coming in, I asked all of you to pick up one of these bid sheets. Anyone not have one?
Ooh, I gave you 2. We passed on to Chassie. Marcus is yours.
Any others?
One more, Jenny.
The other thing you should have gotten, if your classroom didn't already have one, is one of these flip charts. Raise your hand if you do not have one of these. Okay. I'm giving you to send an email. I'm going to hang on to these, and I'll send you an email about them. Okay. So now raise your hand if you don't have one. Okay. 2, 3. Okay. So I'll get with you guys. Okay. So first I want to talk about safety. The first thing I want to talk about is fire drills. I've seen a lot of classes already practicing this with their teams, and that is an awesome thing because then when it happens, the kids already know the procedure. So if you haven't practiced, our first one is this Wednesday at 8:30. It might be a good thing to review with your classes that in the event there's a fire drill during this class, do you all know where to go? All right, now here's the procedure, practice. And take your kids outside so that they know where to go, all right? Big things to emphasize. Be careful in the hallway, stairwells, okay? The noise echoes in there. Really try to encourage them to be quiet walking down there, walking a single file line. I've seen teachers, hands by your side, this is the proper way to walk so that they're not touching each other. I will tell you that almost after every fire drill, I have a referral or 2 for kids who are pushing in the stairwell. Okay, so if you can emphasize that to your kids, that really, really helps. When you go outside, don't know where to go, see me after the meeting or check with your team leader, but your team leader should know where you're going. You should grab with you your class roster and your green-red sheet, okay? Take this with you. As soon as you get outside and your class is in the spot that you're supposed to be, they're lined up or seated where they're supposed to be, call attendance, okay? Take every kid's name. Don't just count heads and then say we're good. Call each kid by name just to double check. So when they go out there, they have to be extremely quiet because every teacher is trying to call their attendance. If you are reporting, if you're a 7th grade teacher, you're reporting to Teresa and I on the basketball court area. I think some of the exploratories are over there too. If you're an 8th grade teacher, you're out in front with Mary Jo. Back. And front. And the front. Okay, so Laura goes to the front. And the nurse goes to the front. Okay, so when you take your attendance, you're going to hold up green if you have all the students that came to your class that day who were supposed to be out of the room with you. Okay, now if you took attendance and you told Kristen Pfaff on attendance, Trish Conan's absent today, but you get out to the fire drill spot and Trish Conan isn't with you, you're going to hold up green because you're good, and Kristen already knows that Trish is absent today. Now, if you get out to that spot and so-and-so went to the nurse or so-and-so went to the bathroom and they're not with you, you're taking attendance and you can't find Christina. Where's Christina? She told me she was in the bathroom, but I don't know where she is. She's not in my line right now. You're going to hold up red, okay? And so Teresa's the person on the 7th grade side with me who's marking red, okay? And a kid's going to hold this up and keep it up. Now, if it's green, this is good. If it's red, have that kid in your line walk up to the adult and tell us who's missing so that we can be on the radios calling the nurse, calling around the building and seeing where they are. Do you want to jump in?
Can I just clarify, and I'm not sure, because we do 3 different areas. Back in my area, it's easiest if everything starts with red.
Okay.
Because you have to intentionally turn it to green.
Okay.
And then we know it's not, they forgot to turn it.
So teach your kids the first person in the line, like if they're at the end of the line, they're just going to hold it red facing the adults.
That's how we've done it.
Do we do that?
No.
they hold it up.
We're never on your side.
I know.
It's not really held up until attendance is taken.
Okay.
And they're holding it up.
So here's the
Better
difference. Our people are in line and we can see their thing.
Okay.
And you guys are seated, right?
Standing on the basketball court and some are seated.
Oh.
The bleachers, the lines.
Okay, now, just do what, it wasn't a problem. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, so.
It wouldn't be a bad thing if you're out there and the first kid in the line is holding it on red. Because we can read whose class that is. I mean, I can usually see who you are, but that might just help us. And then as soon as you're good on attendance, turn it. If you're not good on attendance, say, I need you to go tell Miss Brancamani that Johnny Bay isn't here. Okay, then he comes up and says, Johnny Bay isn't here. Okay? And then we're on the radio calling. And okay, any questions about fire drills?
So the other thing that Jamie just said is if you do have a student that's missing, so not if they were absent. If they're absent, we know that, but if they were here and now they're missing, you have to tell whoever your person is. If you're out front, it will be Laura Moulton. And then we have to call and we have to confirm where every student is. So you typically send a student up to tell us we're missing Joey, whoever.
Okay, if you have a student that normally goes down to the nurse's office, they already know that, so that doesn't, you're not worried about that one?
I've seen either way.
You still want, okay.
You can report it and we just confirm with the
Okay.
So it's okay because that's the other thing you guys need to know is that we made a decision last year that students who are on crutches and wheelchairs, if anything funky that would be a safety thing, they are called down early. And they go out with the nurse out front. So those kiddos, we think they're there. Do they make it? So it's probably not a bad idea just to confirm.
I would say this, it's better to not assume. I would rather you say, is so-and-so with the nurse, and we double check before we all call back into the building, than, wow, Kim Chauvin was missing a student, and she didn't even know it. Because that's kind of what we're thinking if we don't check in, so.
So that's it. So let's just do that. So even the students who have to go to the nurse, let's just go to that. So basically, the other thing is when you leave this campus, you must sign up. Because if something really, really happened, we're going to that sign-out sheet. You also have to leave the building if it's a fire drill. And you go to your normal reported spot.
And some teachers will even take this, or they'll just come up to us. Either way is fine. All the fire drills are on your calendar in Outlook for the year. So for planning purposes, you know when they're coming. The students don't necessarily know when they're coming, but well.
I'm not quite positive exactly where I go because we talked about it briefly in our meeting, but I know that I go down a different hallway than my team does. I follow Lindsay, but I don't know specifically where she lands, so I haven't been able to practice that with my class because I'm not really sure exactly where I go.
I think you go.
She follows our team down.
You follow us.
Yeah, I follow Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean we can show you.
I just didn't know the spot. You know what I mean? I don't know the spot, so I'm trying to make sure
You're probably going to be on the
specific.
bleachers in the track area because that's where Dustin was last year. Jack just remember he was in the room. So you're going to take your kids down the back C-wing stairwell, come out, walk towards the track, and then we'll just find a place for you on this.
I just wanted to be clear so there wasn't any.
Seated, and we're going to be reporting to Teresa and I.
I have a question for you. It says on the red side to write down the names of the absent students. And you were just modeling for us to just send somebody to tell them. Do you want it written or verbal? Or
no.
Doesn't
I didn't even know it said that.
Here's what we do.
Never done that.
We actually
do.
We write down the names of absent students on our clipboard that Teresa and Shelly grab when they go to their location. And this is what they look like. So if somebody from your class isn't there, we make a little note of it on the paper.
Thank you, because that would have been very confusing for everybody. I think that the more it's a lot of kids going down, but the quieter you can keep them, the better. And now it's the first time you go, it's a great model.
And it's okay to tell your kids thank you when they come back and they do a good job. Or how are you gonna? Bingo boards. Yeah, bingo boards. Everybody in the class who did an awesome job. Okay, we're ready to transition to lockdowns. Okay, briefly, the red sheet. When you hang this on your wall, what I would recommend doing is putting this red sheet behind it. Okay, the red sheet is a little more detailed than the lockdown paper on the yellow. Okay, so it's in here, but the red is like really how it applies to us at Thunderbolt. Okay, so the biggest things I can tell you about lockdown is the difference between a soft lockdown and a hard lockdown. We come on the announcement and we say that we're in a lockdown. We're going to either say hard or soft most of the time. Okay, if it's a soft lockdown, first of all, I want to say you guys are all really doing a good job of locking your doors, and that is so that any time if we ever had an emergency, you would not be like running to your desk, looking for your keys, locking the door, putting yourself at risk by going outside of your door to lock it, coming back in the classroom. Those are seconds. That if somebody had something, you are gone in that time. So when we've got an active shooter video, we'll watch at some point in the year. But that's why we're so diligent about our keys around our neck and about keeping our door in the locked position. So that really, really is helpful, and I see you guys are doing a great job of that already. So keeping your doors locked. If it's a hard lockdown, this is both basically the steps for a hard lockdown, okay? A soft lockdown, you just close your door, you can keep teaching, okay? That's like if there's maybe bees in the area, killer bees are in the area, and we just want to make sure everybody's safe. Lock your door, you can keep teaching. That's not a life or threatening condition at that moment in time, but potentially could be. Could turn in that direction, so we're putting everybody in a situation of safety. Now, if it's a hard lockdown, that's where you're going to want to take the kids' cell phones, okay? Silence all cell phones, not be teaching, turn off your light, move away from the door, the spot closest away from the door so that nobody can see in your windows. Because when we walk through and it's a hard lockdown, we shouldn't be able to see anybody moving in that classroom. So keeping those kids quiet and not visible, and your door is locked, okay? Now in both cases, you do need to check in with attendance, okay? So if in the middle of your red sheet, that big box is really important, because if you are a 7th grade teacher, special ed, you're gonna report into Ms. Bracamani. If you're an 8th grade teacher, Ms. Babcock, exploratory, Ms. Keaton, you're gonna report into Shelley Clark, okay? 7th grade counselor, 8th grade counselor. So know which counselor you're reporting into. And it's really important that you're on group-wise every day, because that's what we use to communicate in a time of emergency, okay? So don't use email, just use group-wise and message your attendance. Now, it's kind of the same as if we have a fire drill. If somebody left your class and you just pulled your door locked, you need to be telling the counselor, so-and-so's missing from my class. They went to the bathroom and they're not in my classroom right now. If you have every student that you started with at the beginning of the period, you write in and you say, all good, or we are all here, okay? So that attendance reporting is very, very important. You're not on the sheet. What are you gonna tell me?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to ask you if the parapros in your room or the custodians in your room, do you put their name, or do you just, because it says to include your count, include in your count. So are you saying I have 32 people in my room, or am I saying I got all my kids and Miss Peggy's in here?
Which number are you looking at on here?
Number 2 in the box. Parapros and custodians
Okay.
are in nurse room.
So if a parapro or a custodian, let's say a parapro's in your room or a custodian's walking by and you're locking the door, you say, come in my room, lock the door. Your job as the classroom teacher is to say, I also have Bonnie and Paula Teggy, our with us, or I have Mike Mixner in my room.
I did that with
Okay?
you last year, Jessica.
Okay.
Remember that?
Because what our counselors have in their office is a list of everybody who's supposed to check in and report to them, and they're going through and they're checking off who's reported in and who's not accounted for. And they're also making a list of students who we don't know where they are at that time too. So, what other questions, Derek?
All right, so Adam and I are 7th grade teachers, and normally we go to Teresa, but then we also have an exploratory class, but it also is full of 7th grade students. So
You're 7th grade.
So still go for Akamai.
On this list, in our mind, you are 7th grade.
Okay.
So dynamically you report in everybody your parapros, because they're everywhere.
Right. And you're special ed, so you're going to report to Shelley Clark. No, I'm sorry, 7th grade, 7th grade. Don't listen. Katie?
So if it's my second hour, 8th grade, I report to it's my first, third, fourth, 7th grade.
You're a 7th grade teacher in our mind.
Okay.
Right? Just like 7, so yeah. Just as long as.
And what happens, we end up, Shelley and I end up cross-referencing our list. So after a couple of minutes, because remember, we're just kind of buying time in a real lockdown to make sure everybody's here, and if somebody's not here, it'll end up being handed over to somebody else at some point. But so we'll cross-reference. But if most of your classes fall into 7th grade, and you teach 1 8th grade, you're 7th grade on our list. You know, so everybody else falls into that.
And then when the lockdown's over, we'll say it twice. Okay. Just the biggest thing is make sure you check in. Check in as quickly as you can. Move those kids away from the door, take attendance, and then message us.
You're on prep?
Message us.
I want to know you're there. We'll be looking at the sign-out sheet. And we will go into more detail on this.
And if you're in another teacher's room and you're on prep, then just say, I'm in Nisa Harris's room. Or, you know, Nisa needs to say, Jamie Canzletter's in my room, or whatever, so that you're accounted for. Amanda?
What about the doors between the rooms? Do we not worry about that?
Correct. That's why we make sure our outside door to the hallway is always locked.
Down here under general reminders, it says do not cover interior doors and windows. One of mine is already covered, the little window in the door is already covered.
It was the one that's breaking
That's not
We'll confirm, you know, that changes back and forth all the time. And we just go with what our resource officers tell us, and we can confirm that. I did see that. We'll confirm it.
So your subclaim should also reference some kind of like who to check in with. You know, see flip chart, colored flip chart by the door, but also it'd be really helpful to your sub to say, if we have a lockdown, you message Teresa Bracamani. If you have a fire drill, report out the B-wing hall exit. You know, or see teammate next door who can also help if we have a fire drill.
Do subs have the ability to message? Or group-wise? Yeah.
Well,
They go into the
there's a couple different ways to do it. Most teachers group-wise automatically logs in because it saves the password. And I have under my status a kind of a busy logo that says sub for Harris or substitute, so that anybody that IMs realizes that I've got it active, because I understand that's the communication, but that it's a substitute in my room. The other thing is that the subs probably, honestly, with, and it's not ideal, but in the event that it's a lockdown, like at one point when we had a lockdown, I was upstairs with a sub who couldn't get logged into Novell, and I was in the room, and we ended up having to call to report, which isn't ideal because then you've got a phone ringing in an office for someone that you're hoping is trying to be invisible too. But, you know, just that they're reporting in some way. But
And you follow up on that for us.
yeah.
We'll follow up on it.
Would it be worse to, I'm just thinking how my room is situated, and I'm not sure if you look through the window if you can see the far door. But if, like, for instance, my room and Lindsay Betterman's room's like this, if there's a sub in my room, could they walk along that wall through the door, go through to hers, and use her group wise if she's there? You know? Then I wouldn't be at home. But
You'll find out. You'll find out.
Well, do you make it group-wise?
Yeah, for
Yeah, and honestly, if you're new to your classroom, this is kind of our purpose for today is to identify that spot. where, and you can practice this with kids, you should be practicing with students. If we have a hard lockdown, this is where we're gonna go, you know? So right now, we're gonna go with such we'll have access to group letters. And we'll just figure that out. If it's not the case, then we'll come up with a real specific thing we're gonna do.
So the biggest thing with lockdowns is to take it seriously. You know, they're not really, right now, they're not on your calendars, but our plan is to, is the first one on your calendar yet? No. Okay. There'll be one.
One per quarter.
Hey, every year I've had the kids ask me, well, Mrs. Babcock, we understand about the hard lockdowns, we understand that if we're caught somewhere between, say, the library in your room or the bathroom in your room, that door's locked, we understand you're not going to open it to let us in. They always say, where should I go? What do I mean, I tell them if you're in the bathroom and you'll hide, and if you're, you know, in the hall walking, hopefully some teachers grabbed you and brought you into the room, but what if that hasn't happened? What are they supposed to do?
You're telling them, I think, exactly what you should be doing.
Okay.
Hide.
Yeah.
Just like that video
quiet.
that we've watched.
Yes, yes.
Yep, hide.
Okay.
And there are adults looking for them in the bathrooms, right?
Well, that's why it's so critical that, no, the police department will be looking for them. If it's
So
video-
stay in the bathroom.
Yep.
And just lock the door.
You can't. You
Don't lock the door.
No. They're just going to hide in the bathroom.
Okay.
And if you think about the purpose behind all of this, and I mean, it's critical that we know who we're looking for. So if it's real, and those police officers get on our doorstep and say, we are missing these kids, and now it's up to them. So.
And I've always stressed to my kids too. They say, well, you know, when we know to open the door? And I said, you never open the door. Police officer will open the door. And I said, well, what if someone's at the door knocking and they say it's a police officer? And I said, nope. They will not have to say it's a police officer. They will have a key. They will come in and they will get you to safety. So don't ever open that door.
You stay quiet and try to be as invisible as possible, because when we do the drills too, we'll knock on the doors. Right. So we don't want you to open them, even if we say police department, because isn't that what somebody who has a bad intention is exactly what they're going to do? Open up, police, bang.
And that's what I found. No, the police officer won't have to say anything. They'll have keys when you come in.
Keep thinking about that. Even talking about that. I'm ready to talk about something different. Tier 3 students. Okay, so let's transition a little bit. If you have questions about procedures, don't hesitate to see me. Okay, about safety things. I emailed all the team leaders last week, and you all did a great job of putting together lists of your top concerns as a team that you have. I want you to know that that list can change through the course of the year. I like to know who you're most concerned about as a team, so I have kind of a heads up, so I can do some legwork. And I emailed the team leaders this weekend, kind of like thinking of course of action for different students. I think a lot of the kids that you guys already emailed us about is they're really tier 2 kids at this point in time. Think about it like this, okay? There's 3 tiers with ability levels, and if we think about that with behavior, the kids who are tier 3 at the very top, they're the kids who we're doing something extremely different for. Like right now, our identified tier 3 kids at the very top are kids who are probably already on a short day. Maybe they already have a really, really different schedule. So most of the kids that you emailed me about are like tier 2 right now. They've got the potential to become real big issues, and maybe some of them already are. So we want to look at what we can do for those students, and in some cases it is follow your classroom steps and write them a referral so that I can follow up in that way. So if you're having issues with students and it's before we have our team meeting, like I've already got 7th grade team meeting set up this week and 8-1 this week, I still need 8-2 and 8-3 and exploratory scheduled for next week. If you have behavior incidents that come up before your team meeting, please write up the students. Don't wait for our team meeting for the okay to write them up. Write them up now, okay? You need to, and you've gone through your steps. And the goal is to get some of those students' behavior underway, like leveled out before they get worse, and to do some corrective action with them as soon as we can. So, Mary Jo, what am I missing here? Okay.
You know, our goal is that we can, over time, I just always do this because if you think about that, our yeah, those top kids, those are the ones that are driving you up the wall, and we're all working together downstairs, counselors, administration. The rest of them, your goal is that maybe they have a bad day, but they're following the place. So those tier two. So just really, like Jamie said, consistent. If they need a referral, follow the steps and they get a referral. That's what we said we were going to do. Lots of support though, so.
Let me know if there's a student out there that we haven't addressed yet, but I'm looking forward to meeting with all the teams. And like I said, that list can change, and it probably should, as we help correct some kids' behavior, and we get them on the way of the straight and narrow, and then maybe halfway through the year there's going to be a new name that pops up. So my goal is to check in with team leaders every quarter, and then as you have your team meetings, keep reviewing that list and going, okay, does anybody need to be added? And as that changes throughout the year, send me an email that says so-and-so needs to be added to our list. Okay, we're starting to see some things emerge. And for some kids, it might be appropriate for us to have an intervention meeting. For some kids, I'm going to meet with you next week, and I'm going to say, I don't think an intervention is the right way to go with this kid. Maybe we need to just go this route. Okay, and I saw some teams in CUME folders this week. There's some students who are new to us. We don't know a lot of information about them, so keep in mind that's a good place to go too. But I absolutely love this part of my job. I love trying to figure out what is going to help that student be more successful under the circumstances that they have in their life. And I just saw like the perfect thing today. Kathy just left, but a student came into her class and she was shaking hands, and the student said, she said, "Why are you late?" to the student. The student said, "Oh my gosh, so-and-so made me late. They were blocking the lockers and I couldn't get in. And gosh, now I'm going to be even more late because you're trying to talk to me right now." And I just happened to be walking by and I said, I got this. Come on over here, Sierra. And Kathy just went, "We'll talk about that in a minute. Go ahead. You're okay. I won't mark you late." And she just like went on about it. And I ended up talking to that student, and she said, I said, "How's this class going? Are you really upset with Miss Kathy?" And she said, "No, it was the girl under my locker." I said, "Well, now you've taken it out on her. Is that really what you wanted to do? Is that the impression you wanted to give that teacher?" And she said, "No." She went to the bathroom, stopped crying. We went back to class, and she apologized to the teacher on her own. I didn't say it. She identified that in herself. So, and she's not a tier 3 or a tier 2 kid. She was a tier 1 kid having a really bad moment in middle school with her locker. So let me know how I can help, and I'm looking forward to meeting with all the teams coming up.
All right. What is our PO1 rep?
Okay, I sent out a PowerPoint this morning. Can I get a thumbs up for those of you who watched it? Sorry. I have it. Okay. All right. We get, the state gives us extra money for following their procedures. We have 3 goals that we have to follow, basically is how it goes. Beginning this year, the law is requiring that the teacher's eval be one of the components of our 301. The levels are highly effective, developing, and ineffective. And depending on where you are on that, what we have is like this pie-shaped thing, and 33% of it comes from our school goals, whether we've met those or not. And we're still going to be writing those up. One of them is vocabulary. We're all doing our pre and post vocabulary. That comes into our 301. And we're going to be doing 2 PD classes again, 1 per semester. They're going to be on thinking maps again, if that's good with you guys. That's what I thought we would do because we never really finished those off. And the third part of it is the 301 packet, which is on the share drive. You can always get through there. I am available for questions or anything anytime during the year. So that's why I sent the PowerPoint out. I thought maybe you guys could look at that and I could get through this quickly. What I need for you to do now is I've got an individual performance-based pay participation form here. I need you to fill this out and mark yes or no, whether you're going to be in it or not. You don't have to participate in this. Nobody says you have to. If you are requesting a waiver because you're working toward a national board certificate, you can do that.
Can I just say, if you're a first-year teacher in the district, we'll cover this at our Critical Friends group, so you do not have to worry about your 3-1 packet. We will do it together.
We don't have to sign it right now?
You have to sign
it right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've got to sign up because you want money. Okay, so for clarification purposes, the part that new teachers are exempt from is the packet only. You're still responsible for the other 2 out of the 3, which is the professional development and the evaluation rubric part. There's sometimes typically a communication goal as well, although that might have shifted somewhat. The only part the new teachers won't do is the 301 rubric. You guys will get waived. You'll get a certificate that says you've got exempted from that because you've participated in the Critical Friends. But the other 2 parts, like whatever we have to turn in for vocab, or whatever we have to turn in for our other academic or parent communication goal, like a call log has been something that we've done in the past. Those you will have to submit by the deadlines. It's just the packet itself, which is the beastie packet. It's not awful, and most people can be done with it by Christmas. But
Support
it's,
too.
yes.
We've got some real experts that have been doing this for years.
What about the mentor-mentee part, since they haven't chosen mentors yet?
Yes. Yeah, if you're a brand year 1 teacher, you're gonna say you're participating in the mentor or mentee. Now, some of you remember at the end of August is when the new teachers will identify their mentor. So don't mark it now, but if last year we went back on if you were now a mentor, you can go back and mark that. So brand new people to us, we'll mark yes.
Sign in date. You want money? We'll figure out the how.
Yeah.
When we need to.
Where do I put in my assignment?
What do we put in?
Okay, just so you know, the checks come out
Assignment to start.
3 times a year?
I'm sorry, what?
The checks come out 3 times a
We
year?
get a fall check, we get a spring check, and then we get our summer, which is the big one. The fall and spring ones usually, we get the dates, but it's usually kind of fall break, not at fall break, but it's in time to Christmas shop and or buy tickets. And then there's another one. The other one's like usually March-ish, and then the summer one in July.
And last year, can you guys remember the fall one was approximately
$500.
400.
I like 400.
Yes. After tax is probably more like 300.
Okay, so about 3, and then the spring one.
It's about the same.
Okay. Oh, same.
A little bigger, I think.
A little bigger.
And then the summer one, a lot bigger.
The summer one was 4,000 net. Take home.
That's 2,000. I think it is the gross pay, because it was gross after I took all the tax.
Yeah.
It was
2,800 net. That's about
It was a good chunk.
We don't know yet.
Kathy, Kim says.
Oh, it's on here. I did write that down. August.
Yeah, that was my question.
August 29th
Do I
or
have
May
a-
1st.
August 29th, May 1st.
Thank you. You're welcome. I was going to say, do I have something with the calendar?
I did.
Because I meant to write that down.
August 29th and May 1st.
Thank you.
Kim would like this one.
Kim, would we see things put them on the table?
You're already doing
And then just leave them on the
Yeah.
table.
You already signed.
Can I leave these in the middle of the table after you sign them, please?
So you've already done the first one.
So when you're finished, you're going to just leave it in the middle of the table. And if you, while you're finishing up, Jeff's going to launch us. A lot of information today. We try in our staff meetings to get you out of here as soon as we can. So some of these things that we did today were supposed to be in week when you guys were first back. so I really wanted to be able to be in the classroom, so we had to move some of it around. So that's kind of why today's a little bit long. So thanks for your patience on that.
Jeff, can I just ask one more? Joe, who else needs one of these? Yeah, these two. Okay.
I have one. Okay. Yeah, you should have an email. I did send an email out about Thursday, and then I sent a follow-up email. The follow-up one has the specifics because I had it confused with Trish and Rachel gave me real specifics. So if you read my second email, it will tell you exactly where you need to be and what times. And those of you who are kind of getting accustomed to reading email, you got to do it. You just won't survive in this district without, and it's definitely during your prep, you check your email, your lunch, you check your email, group-wise, all that stuff. So. Jeff, thanks for being our launcher today.
You're welcome. We all live in the human condition. We operate under the same basic set of emotions. And heroes are the ones that do things every day. And at the end, those little things that you do, you don't know what they become.
Not me.